Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
Correction, with your super host, Daryl, and co-host, Jeremy. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 92. How you doing, bud?
I am doing fantastic, Jeremy. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
You know why I'm doing great?
Because it's Wednesday. It's podcast night.
It is, and because we have a great show tonight. We will be recapping another Canadian A-tier, ECAN, one of our favorite acronyms.
Canadian Amateur Nationals.
FPO winner Jessica Goulet, MPO winner Thomas Gilbert, and tournament director John Pytel will be joining us tonight. So,
yeah.
What do you think about that?
It's an awesome lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've spoken to all three people before.
Yes.
Excited to speak to them again.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a nice thing about doing the podcast as long as we have and having all these great Canadians out there playing and hosting tournaments. We get a chance to chat with them at least once.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's going on with you this week? What do you have happening?
Not a whole heck of a lot.
No?
I got to get out and play with you yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We had some fun out at our local course, Bailey's, which we've been practicing and trying to get better at, preparation for nationals.
Yes, we have. And we had a guest with us, though, too, right? Someone else who's got a new emoji keychain to take home with them.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to be joined by Keith Mulberg.
That's right.
Local MA40 player. It's good to have him come out, and it's always nice to, we're getting out there more and more regularly, but the fact that we can get out there and play with another new person as well, it's always fun.
Yeah, it's good. And Keith is such a good guy, and we found out he's been playing like 2016, 2017, somewhere around that time. So he was able to teach us a few tips and tricks just by us watching him throw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently, if anybody is on the lookout, look out for a crave on hole 12.
Yes. Keith will enjoy that one.
Yeah,
that's
kind of an
one-person joke. Well, I had the opportunity on Monday night to be part of the Edmonton Disc Golf Association's partnership with the Special Olympics. So they got together and we were getting a chance to have some of our volunteers, our amazing volunteers. I want to say there was at least 12 Edmonton disc golf people there and about 8 athletes or so with their families. And Brock, if you're in the chat there, you can correct me on the numbers. But it was just amazing. It was we talk about how good it is to volunteer at tournaments, but when you can get out to an event like this and help some new people try disc golf. Yeah, it was really fun. And I want to put a special shout out, as we always do, to the nicest guy in disc golf, Alex Penny, because he donated a number of discs that we were able to give to the athletes so they were able to take a disc home with them. We had some extra ones too that we were able to give to some of the family members. And by all accounts, everyone had a fun time. And I would highly recommend anybody joining some sort of event like that in the future to be a volunteer and helper.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've always said, volunteer at 5, play 1, or volunteer at 1, play 5. It's always good to get out there. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there were a number of tournaments that took place this weekend over in Canada. One that we'd like to highlight, the 20th annual Saskatchewan Open Provincial Championships. So that was a B/C tier event that took place in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. The tournament directors were friends of the show. You know them, Jeremy. Arlen Nicol, Jerry Ann Brownbridge. On the MPO side, recent junior guest that we just had on, Drew Biet, took down first place in a playoff against Brad Smith.
Mm-hmm.
They both finished -21, which was good for a 989 rated event.
Wow.
That was 42 points above Drew's PDGA rating.
That's a pretty good round. I think maybe Moose Jaw being his home course, he might have had a little bit of secrets to it.
A little home field advantage there, maybe. Yeah. And then over on the FPO side, Shauna Scott, she took down the win. She had an 862 rated event.
Mm-hmm.
That was 25 points above her rating. In our division, MA40, Duncan Holness, people in the Edmonton area knows that name. He took down the win with a -4. That was 3 strokes over second place. The Biet family, not to be outdone, they were represented pretty well. Mike Biet, he won MA3, finished with a +5. That was 4 strokes over second place. And you've seen some pictures online. It looked like an amazing event.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
And, we talk about trying to find events throughout Canada. There's so many that happen over the weekends, and we're going to try to highlight 1 or 2 for you at the beginning of our episodes. And we always talk about the MPO and the FPO winners.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see some names we know in the other divisions and to highlight them as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if you hear their names and you know them, do a little shout out for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So on the DGPT side, the Ledgestone Open took place down in Peoria, Illinois.
Yep.
We had 3 Canadians representing. On the MPO side, Kalen Schatt was our Canadian pro. He finished tied 137th. And it just goes to show that when you are heading down to the Disc Golf Pro Tour for your first time, it's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
His C1X putting, though, was great over the weekend, and he was at 92% in rounds 2 and 3. So that's something to build on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We had 2 Canadian FPOs at the tournament. Chantal Badinsky was down there. She finished tied for 27th, tied with Lexi Marks and Holland Hanley. That's pretty good company. Yeah. She just finished just one spot out of the cash.
Oh, that close, hey?
Yeah, that close. Yeah. But friend of the show, Rebecca Dawn, was down there. Now, she finished 4th place out of all the women on the FPO side. She proved again that she already has what it takes to compete at that DGPT level. She was on the lead card for both rounds 3 and 4. And get this, she shot a 989 rated event. That's 38 points above her rating.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
It's impressive for sure.
Next up on the DGPT is Idlewild. That's down in Burlington, Kentucky. We have some Canadians heading down there for that event. On the MPO side, friend of the show, Thomas Gilbert, he's going to be heading down there. FPO side, Chantal Badinsky and Rebecca Dunn will also be heading back there.
Chantal Badinsky, a.k.a.?
Miss Frisbees.
That's right.
Of course.
So make sure to go and check out her socials. She's always got lots of great content out there.
Well, sorry, I should just say, Doc Zen does say, please call her Miss Frisbees.
There we go.
There you go. From now on, that is what her name will be.
As for giveaways, we got the Star Bats sent out to our last winner, Michael, and in the chat there, quite excited for that to be coming out to him. So that giveaway's there. We talked about giving away our Cold Garden Cup hat that came from Alex Penny. We have not put that post up, but that's just us being slow and tardy. We'll get that up there so you have another chance to win. And it was on me this time. Daryl's looking to make sure we know where the blame is. It wasn't on him. Want to shout out our sponsors really quick. We have 2 main sponsors for you. We've got BR Disc Golf, where you can get 10% off by using the code CHAINOUT at checkout. And when I was talking to Brendan, he told me something.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I know. He was promoting something that I don't want to talk about yet. And that was the fact that it's getting darker. And by getting darker at night, then that means we're getting closer to the fall. Yeah. And it means that glow season is upon us. And not that we don't like glow season. We just don't want to play it earlier than we need to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things that comes every year.
So if you do need some glow discs so you can play well into the night, Brendan has those for you. He also has some of those cool halos that we talked about in a earlier
Halo
around
red,
the basket.
Yeah.
And what you do with those is you just stick them in your bag, you light them up a couple times, and it lights up your glow discs and you're ready to go.
They're really cool. You charge them by a USB, put them in your bag, and then they have a remote clicker that you can click. So put it in your bag. Put your bag on your bag. As you're walking, just give the clicker a couple of clicks. It glows and it automatically shuts off. So you know you're not going to run out of battery. It's going to charge your discs up next time you pull out that disc. It'll be like you're playing in daylight.
Especially if it's your Innova Glow. Is that what you're going to tell me?
Yeah, Proto Glow is the best glow ever.
There, he said it. He got his Innova.
Well, Dylan says that Bailey's Glow Golf is his favorite.
Oh, well, we might have to check that out. That would be difficult.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Bailey's Glow Golf. Dylan, you're insane.
Might be easier to find your discs when they go into the trees, because if they're glowing.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? All right, and our other sponsor is Cardinal Disc Golf, where you can get 10% off using the same code CHAINOUT, but put a space between the words. And what happened when we talked to Kevin Fodry and Lane Mosolf was they told us about the Gannon Bird jersey giveaway that's going on. So with Gannon taking the win at Ledgestone, he now has 9 jerseys with Cardinal Disc Golf,
right?
Plus multiple colorways in some of the jerseys. So there's so many different choices, and Cardinal wants to celebrate. So they're going to give away 9 jerseys, including one that if you go and you check out the post, he put it on Kevin Fodry's back and signed it. And that one's getting given away as well. So yeah, you want to put a quick view of that up on the screen?
I will.
I think a shorter person, but
we're gonna get quickly out of that screen.
Out of that screen there.
Realize that we got our guest.
Hey, we got a sneak peek of our guest. That's always nice.
That was not what it was meant to be, but that's okay.
But anyways, go check out that post there and get yourself in to win. So after this episode, we'll be chatting more disc golf on Around the Basket. That's our Patreon episode. You can head over to Patreon, join at any level, including free, and you'll get a link to join us live. But Daryl, now that we've had a sneak preview of our first guest, maybe we could go ahead and we'll introduce
right to it.
I'm sure they're ready at this point.
They're ready. I think they're sitting here
Anxiously
anxiously
anticipating.
anticipating getting to them. So let's go for it.
All right. Well, our first guest has been competing at the FPO level since 2022. Her game has been improving year after year, but something has clicked this year.
Yeah.
She has played 13 events, won 5 of them, podiumed in 5 more. She won her first A tier last month at the Tournament Capital Open and joined us to talk about it. She won her second Canadian A tier this past weekend. Let's welcome Jessica Goulet back to the podcast.
Hi.
Hey, Jessica, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing fantastic. Fantastic. We're excited to talk to you again. So welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back here.
Yeah, you've become quite the popular person. You're appearing on podcasts and winning tournaments. It's good to be Jessica these days, I think. Hey.
Yeah, it's been a good season. I've been enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you joined us last month from Victoria, BC, after winning the Tournament Capital Open. So last time you joined us, you were sitting there on the harbor front. You had the ocean in the background. We were wondering whether the majestic background would be same for this episode, but we see that you're in a different surroundings today.
Yeah, we don't quite have the same backdrop. We're back home, so
Yeah.
not as exciting, but still
Yeah.
good to be here. So
Yeah.
Well,
Perfect.
if I can say, I'm looking there and it looks like there's pictures of beautiful, amazing scenery that you've probably been to and visited, as opposed to the real live thing right behind you this time.
there you have it. We have Venice canals behind me, so
Yeah.
that counts for something.
Absolutely.
Certainly does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as we were mentioning in the intro, Tournament Capital Open was your first Canadian A tier win. It was also your first Western Canadian A tier win. I'm going to be saying A tier a lot here.
Yeah.
This past weekend, you won the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals. So now you have an Eastern Canadian A tier win. You have 2 A tier wins in a row. When you were planning your season at the beginning of the year, was this kind of how you drew it up? Is it going exactly as you thought it would?
I honestly didn't give it too much thought. I know that my previous seasons haven't been as successful. So I was kind of coming into this season just thinking I wanted to see better results. And honestly, my season planning goes to my husband. He knows when the tournaments are being posted, when registration opens. It's not much of a competition for the FPO field. Typically, you don't have to sign up within 5 minutes to save yourself a spot. But
Right.
yeah, honestly, I was just coming into the season really hoping to put some stuff out there. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like Jeremy said, there's been an amazing season for you so far. Since the Foxwood Open back in May, you've played 9 tournaments. You've placed first, second, or third in all of them. What do you think has happened to your game this year that's allowed you to take it to that next level?
I definitely think my forehand has really grown and remained consistent. I found that sometimes my forehand would be unreal outside of tournaments, and then I get to a tournament and I'd be burning it over.
Right.
Whereas now I feel like I can really place my forehand shots, and I have a lot of different shapes with my forehand. And also my putting. Been putting
Yeah.
a lot of time into putting practice, and I've seen that come through in tournaments as well. And also playing golf. Um,
Really?
that's a big part of it. Yeah, just not always going for the birdie and just really placing your shot for the next shot.
Right.
I feel like I've definitely changed my mentality around the game this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's definitely a big one, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
And have
Mm.
you, when you've been out doing your practice rounds before tournaments, is that kind of something that you're adding into your practice round, is starting to think about where do I want to land as opposed to just how close can I get to the basket, that type of thought?
Absolutely. Especially with Eddyville. There's a lot of holes that you could run the birdie, but maybe sometimes smarter to play the safe par, because
Right.
trying to go for that birdie, sometimes uh, you can get a big number. So definitely, yeah, in practice rounds, you're thinking, okay, what is my safe play and what is my risky play, depending on where you're at. If you're chasing or if you're leading or whatever the case may be.
Okay. Yeah, well, speaking of Eddyville, we want to get into the tournament, and similar to what we did when we had you on for the Tournament Capital Open, is I've got a couple, well, Daryl and I, we have some summaries of each of the rounds. So we're going to summarize that up mainly for our listeners because you were there. You'll know what happened. But then we'll have a few questions to ask you about each round too, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so if we go with round one, you and Colleen and last year's winner, Sandy Hendel, were all on a card together. It was a card of 3. You managed to snag 3 birdies, 10 pars, 4 bogeys, and a double bogey to finish +3. At the end of that round, you were in second place and you were 1 shot behind Colleen McInnes. And it looked like, from what we could see, Jessica, was that hole 1 had some teeth because everyone on the card took some extra strokes that first round. Tell us a little bit about hole 1 at Eddyville and what made it so tough.
Hole 1, day 1 had some headwind, and I think I went for like a really safe drive, and then my next shot I had to get a bit more aggressive with, but I didn't because there's an OB line down the right fairway, and you kind of have to spike hyzer your next shot into the woods, and I didn't want to leave it short, and I just pumped my shot, and because of the headwind, it held it straight, so I just really pinched myself off. So I think it was learning the course, adapting to the wind. So I think I corrected that mistake round 2, round 3. And obviously the nerves of the first tee, you don't want to go be round 1,
Yeah.
hole 1. So that's definitely what was going on there. I think it's not that hard of a hole, but yeah, if you miss your landing spot by 5 feet left, 5 feet right, then you've got no line. So
Right.
So
that
a
was
John
good.
Pytel special there to set you up on that first hole, hey?
Oh yeah.
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 Well, now, did you set any score goals for yourself for the tournament? So I guess where I'm asking is, like, was +3 right around where you wanted to be based on your practice rounds when you started? Was that kind of where you thought you would be?
Honestly, I knew around even would be great. And in after my practice round, I remember thinking, wow, I really blew up some holes and I
Yeah.
got some sick birdies. So you kind of have to find a middle ground, like, okay, how do I get rid of these bogeys? But the reason I got those is because I was going for the birdies. So yeah, I thought, okay, maybe go for some of them, but play an even game, like shoot for par, and parring out that course would be a really good score. So that's kind of where I wanted to be, somewhere around even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, so then
Yeah.
moving into round 2, it was Colleen and Sandy all matched up again. Overall, the card, excuse me. Overall, the card came out of the gates much cleaner on hole 1 this round. You and Colleen were trading the lead back and forth throughout the round, and you both finished -1. This had you still in second place. It was still 1 stroke behind Colleen, but you did score a turkey of birdies on holes 7, 8, and 9 that round. Did one of those birdies stand out for you as a tougher one to get?
Yeah, definitely hole 8. Because hole 7 is a short one, but pretty tough to get because you have to clear water. I think it's like 160, 150 something, and you have
Okay.
to clear the water, but your gap is about this big. So you could
Oh,
either jump putt it to the edge or go for it. And then there's water carry on your fade. So definitely a tough birdie. Happy to get it, but also hole 8 was, I want to say, 450 or 4 just short of that.
right.
And I have an aggressive play on that hole, just because there's trees on the left early and right. So I think most of the girls were doing a flip up or a hyzer backhand, and I
Right.
went with the flex forehand. So if it holds the flex line, it's launched into the woods, or
Yeah.
if it doesn't flex, then you're launched into the woods on the right. And I actually think all 3 rounds I perfectly executed the flex forehand, got like far enough down the fairway. I think I had just under 100-foot upshot
Right.
for birdie. So I'd say that
Nice.
birdie really stuck out to me.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. So those 3 strokes on those 3 holes had you tied back up with Colleen again after 9 holes. Now, we've talked about before about how important it is to shake off those bad holes and forget about them, but can it work the other way as well? Like, did you have to kind of rein in your excitement a bit of getting 3 birdies in a row? Stay focused for that back 9?
Oh yeah, because the back nine, well, I'd say the front nine are definitely more challenging. The back nine, though, you can get into trouble if you miss your landing. Like there's a lot of OB.
Right.
So definitely excited, but yeah, hole 10, hole 11, you can't get too excited. You have to stay controlled, very precise with your shots. Um, but yeah, I think I managed. I might have gotten a bogey after that, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
staying
all right.
focused is good.
Yeah, no, it was a good second round for sure. And if we get to your third round, so you and Colleen had totally separated yourself from the rest of the FPO field with the way you were battling back and forth, and it was truly going to be a one-on-one battle right to the finish. So you got another turkey of birdies, this time on holes 8, 9, and 10. So that awesome flex forehand hit it again, I'm guessing. And then you had a birdie on hole 14, and that closed the gap, and you were tied with Colleen going into the last 4 holes. So then the last part of my little recap is on 15 and 16. You both get the par. And then can you take us kind of through 17 and 18 and what happened and how you got to the win?
Sure. Yeah. So just a preamble, 16. I actually doinked my upshot pretty poorly behind a bush, and I was left with nothing. And Colleen was edge of circle for a birdie,
Wow.
and I laid flat out on the ground and had my arm reaching and did a flick forehand around the bush, and it actually drilled the porta potty on that hole, and I canned a 50-foot putt for par.
Wow.
So I feel like that was a pivotal moment because
Yeah.
Colleen missed her birdie putt from edge of circle and then she parred out, so we were tied. And then 17's an island hole, and for me, it's just a stock hyzer forehand, landed circle one. Colleen actually both rounds threw it almost long, but just stayed in the island and gave herself a 50-foot putt that she had hit yesterday or the day before. But she missed it. And then I was able to birdie that hole to take the stroke, which is a nice buffer going into hole 18. And I actually so it was a left to right wind, headwind. And the weekend prior, I had a tournament in Michigan where I had a 4-stroke lead going into hole 17 for the win.
Right.
Right.
And left to right wind, I burned my forehand over and went OB twice in a row and basically through the tournament. It was really
Wow.
tough.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I kind of had that like drilled in my mind. I was like, okay, left to right wind, like spike hyzer this just to keep it in bounds and play 18 for par, just to force a little pressure on Colleen.
Yeah.
And then on her tee shot, she threw her disc, and unfortunately, with the left to right wind, it went OB, which then definitely let up some pressure again. And I played so safe. I just kept like upshotting my way. That's why I also kind of took a big number. I was just trying to match her shots. And then,
Right.
because are you familiar with hole 18
No, we're
at
not.
Eddyville?
What we get, Jessica, is we just get the PDGA live, and once in a while there's some coverage. So that's why we love having these conversations. We learn so much.
Yeah, it's a great hole. You basically have to clear like 240 of OB, and then you have about 300 feet into Willows, and then um, like a ditch that's OB that you kind of have to get over, but very narrow to throw through, and then you have another green and surrounded by OB. So basically, I
Wow.
like threw my drive, threw my upshot, and then had to clear this OB and
Right.
just launched it OB just to clear it though,
Right.
so that I can pitch up and walk away with the double bogey on that one.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, as
Yeah.
you said, is that sounds like thinking and playing golf at that point, and
Yeah.
not trying to throw the hero line just to throw the hero line, right? To actually strategize. And when you're playing someone like Colleen, who's been playing as long as she has and is such a great player, like there's that added pressure of having someone like her just right there with you, I would expect.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was a good battle, like all throughout the tournament. It was really good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much so that you ended up shooting a 939 rated event. That's 34 points above your rating. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I was really stoked. I was happy to kind of be more consistent. I feel like I've had like a really bad round and then two really good rounds, and that's kind of worked for me. But it's good to shoot my first round kind of left some putts out there, but it was good to shoot more consistently this last tournament.
Right.
So yeah, good to see.
Yeah.
Nice. And so out of your 5 wins that you've gotten this year, have any of them been as close as this one was where you were really tight? Was I guess maybe that one you just mentioned was until things went south, but
Yeah. This is definitely the one that was the biggest battle. I feel like my other tournaments, I kind of went into day 3 with a bit of a buffer. This is the first time I actually chased down first place, so which is it was a cool experience.
yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And also too, Jessica, like as we saw, and we're going to mention it a little bit later when we talk to Thomas too, is like Eddyville's kind of a little bit out of the way. So once you're there and you're playing at that course, was there anything, other things you were doing in the area? Were there touristy stuff you were doing, or were there activities at the tournament site?
So my husband and I kind of turned it into a camping trip. So we just went up a couple days early and stayed a couple days later, and had a really good time camping. Brought the dogs, so
Nice.
we actually brought them out on the course after. They loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a
Yeah.
good,
But
fantastic
then,
trip.
otherwise went to the local grocer, which was fun, but didn't see anything else local.
No, there you go.
Yeah.
You weren't traveling up into Ottawa or doing anything like that, hey?
No, we just campground and disc golf. That's pretty well it.
Yeah.
That's all you need on a weekend. Yeah.
Well, and if you took
Yeah.
that time to head up there and you were taking your time and you guys were going camping and that type of thing, with nationals coming up, did you stop at any of the 4 courses on the way and maybe sneak in around?
That was actually our goal, was to hit P15 on our way home.
Right.
Just because it is so far out of the way, it's tough to make a day trip out of it.
Mhm.
But we ended up taking our time having breakfast camping, underestimated the time it takes to pack up your camping gear. And by the time we hit the road, we're like, it's going to be like almost 10 o'clock at night by the time we get home if we stop. So
Yeah.
decided against it. But we'll be definitely making it out for some more practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we had Gabe on, that was just last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we were talking to him about the course. And the one thing we learned, and we knew this about Gabe, is how much thought and attention he puts into that course.
Yeah.
But we got a great lesson on, just even the geology of the course. Like he just knows everything about that area and that course. So if you do get a chance to go up there, make sure you have some time if he's around, because like, what did you say, Daryl, that he could do one of those walking tour things for you?
Exactly. Yeah. You should pick up a headset and, cassette when you cassette. You should show me
Cassette,
how
there you
old
go.
I am. Yeah. And, put it on as you're walking. And
In
he'll
your
say things like,
Walkman?
yeah. On your right is the
Cool.
rock formation, and on your left is a tree that has this growth. And yeah, he knows everything about the course and so knowledgeable as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, very neat. I teach 8th grade geography, so maybe take a couple notes while I'm over there.
Oh, I think I hear field trip is what I hear, because that would totally
Hey,
fit
there you
into
go.
the curriculum.
We got the budget for it. Let's go. Lock
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah.
You got to talk to the phys ed teacher, combine it, and now you've got disc golf and geography, and add a little bit geology in there.
There you go.
Man,
Yeah.
let me know when that trip.
Yeah.
I'll be a volunteer. I'll help.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds like the dream trip.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Jessica, one of the things, this is a very important question that we have to ask you, so I hope you're ready. And we want to know if you've been doing some renovations at home, because we think that maybe you've needed to put up a few shelves to hold all those trophies that you're winning. Have you been doing that?
Can't say I have. Haven't been home a lot, to be honest. I feel like every weekend we're somewhere disc golfing or, summer busyness. But the most recent trophy has like a light fixture in the base, so it lights up your entire trophy. Very
Oh.
cool. I did plug that one in as soon as we got home, and that is now my night light. So that's pretty neat trophy.
Yeah, that's a special one for sure. That's not what you don't hear about trophies like that all the time for sure.
Well, that, and I
Yeah,
think
wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
well, and was one of your previous trophies too. It was pretty sizable as well, wasn't it? Was it a pretty big one?
It was a chair size. Yeah, and I was having a hard time carrying it, but I didn't get to take that one home, unfortunately.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's great to hear about all the tournaments that you've played so far and things like that. As we look a bit forward to the future for the rest of the disc golf season, we see that your next event is the CCR Open down in Michigan next week, and after that, you have a little bit of a break until Nationals. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. We're trying to maybe squeeze another one in there. Not sure what that's going to look like, but yeah, those two for sure.
Yeah. Well, if you do keep the weekend open, there you go. Project 15. You got it all covered.
Good point. Yeah, definitely should set aside some time for practice.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, we appreciate the time and we enjoy having you on. We hope to see you lots more on the show, winning more A tiers. But before we let you go, is there anything that we missed that you wanted to mention, or any shout outs for anybody you wanted to put out there?
Sure, yeah. Thank you. So, as per our conversation 5 weeks ago, still unsponsored. So,
Yeah.
another shout out there. And actually, now that I have this platform, I would like to just mention that I'm hosting my first tournament um, here locally in Baden, Ontario. So, it's called the Flingsgiving at Foxwood Golf
Okay.
Okay.
Course.
Yeah.
So Foxwood Open is hosted on the white layout, but the Flingsgiving is going to be on the red layout. That doesn't get to or doesn't have as much foot traffic, but it's a really great course and it's really fun. It has a couple water carry shots. So super excited to host that, TDing for the first time. It's a whole new world, but would love to see more people signing up. It's on the Thanksgiving weekend and it's a 1 day event. And depending on what division you're playing, AMs are playing Saturday and the pros with MA1 are playing on Sunday. So that's on Disc Golf Scene. So, hey, there it is.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
sign up.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like you've got a great sign up already with 69 of 144 spots open or filled up. Hey,
Yeah. So far, so good. Just really hoping those numbers will keep climbing. That'd be really great.
well, Daryl just ran his first tournament this year, and I think you got some advice about that, because weren't you every morning looking to see?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've been the same as what I was when I ran the first tournament. As soon as I made it live, I kind of kept refreshing just to make sure I could watch the numbers go up. But you've got to definitely leave it a little bit and not keep watching it, because every time you go back and check, those numbers will be a bit further up the number scale. And then what I found, I mean, I'm not sure if your event was probably the same as my event, but during that last week is when it really gets busy. That's when people realize, okay, they've got the time, the weather's going to be good, nothing else is happening. They're all in, they're all focused on your event. So you'll see a lot more signups during the last little while.
Right. Yeah. I've been definitely refreshing my page 3, 4 times a day, every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard though. You're trying to plan for like AM packs, but you don't really know your true number. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually there's a bit more to it than I anticipated. So it's been a
Absolutely.
cool experience so far.
Yeah. We had a great
But I'll try and take
conversation.
your advice.
Yeah, for sure. We had a great
Yeah.
conversation with a female TD in the Edmonton area, Kristen Swirls, and she mentioned, we kind of broke it down about how to set up an event, and she had mentioned that once you get your money from the entry fees,
Mhm.
and then when you pay for everything that you've got, like all your money is gone and everything is gone, even before you've even considered AM packs, before you've even considered trophies, and everything like that. So just managing everything to do with the tournament and making all these events work, like people don't realize what work goes into making an event. So thank you for putting on an event, and hopefully it goes great for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Hope it goes well too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you had mentioned the sponsors haven't started calling yet. And I'm just wondering, how many wins do you need before they start calling? So I'm thinking, I don't know if we did this the last time you were on, but do we want to put any good karma out there and maybe shout out a sponsor's name that maybe we should be letting know that you're interested? Is it like MVP or Prodigy or Innova that should be listening to this podcast?
I could definitely get behind that. My bag is 80% destroyers. Love my
Right.
Innova. If it's not a destroyer that I'm flicking, it's a Firebird. If I'm going backhand, it's a T-Bird. So would love to hear from you. MVP, I'm also bagging Trail, Wave, Crave. Yeah. So those would be my two shout outs if I could manifest something.
That's it.
All
That's
That
what
would
it's
be
all
it.
about.
Okay, so when
Yeah.
we get out to nationals and we get a chance to get Daryl Banks's ear, we'll start whispering in there as he's part of PDGA Canada too. So
Innova Canada.
or Innova Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah.
it.
So-
Yeah.
Awesome.
Would
Perfect. Well,
appreciate that.
yeah. Well, we appreciate having you on. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We hope to see you again soon. I'm sure there'll be another win under your belt sometime soon, and we'll be talking to you again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to speaking to you guys very soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're heading out to nationals as well, so we'll see you out there.
Oh, true. Yeah, and that's coming up soon, so I'll see you very
Absolutely.
soon.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks for your time, Jessica.
right.
We'll see you soon. Okay.
See you
Bye.
guys.
All right, Daryl.
There you go.
So one awesome interview in the bag.
That's it. 1 down, 2 to go.
Yeah. Well, why don't you do our next intro?
Absolutely. So our next guest, hang on, I got to do lots of things at once here.
Okay.
Our next guest, and if you stop scrolling, our next guest was on the show just last week with Sophia Donica telling us about his amazing trip to China, representing Team Canada at the World Games. This past weekend, he took down the MPO win at the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals after a tight battle with last year's winner, defending champion Marty Hendel. Join us in welcoming Thomas Gilbert to the show. Nope.
Nope.
Why are you not aside,
Hello,
Thomas?
guest 2. Oh, there he
you
is.
are.
Hey,
Hey,
there we
how
go.
are you? Hey, how are you doing, Thomas?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah.
Of course, like I've said before, you've got your own button on my little carousel here, so you're part of the furniture at this point now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's gonna be, Thomas. It will be, this is the Chain Out podcast with super host Daryl, co-host Jeremy, and guest co-host Thomas Gilbert. That's pretty much what it's feeling like.
Yeah, almost.
And that's
I think, I don't know. This is number
Yeah.
5 or 6 or 7, maybe.
yeah, like here
I
you
don't
go.
know.
I actually
He's
went
got
through
it.
it. You and I are on the same wavelength because I went through. We have our master episode document, and I counted up all of your appearances. So with all of your A tier wins over the past 2 years,
Mhm.
plus the World Games recap last week, this is now your 8th time on the podcast.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking 5, 6, or 7 times this year. But yeah, there definitely was a couple times last year as well.
Yeah, and so I think, and I checked as well. You have officially taken the crown, so you have the most appearances on the Chain Out podcast. We need to get a crown made up, and then we'll just kind of have it sent around and mailed around the country. Hey,
Yeah. Okay. So we've been following along with all the Canadian A tiers, and that has helped us learn a lot with our Canadian geography. We knew that Eddyville was near Ottawa, but looking on the map last night, we saw that it was about 45 minutes from Ottawa and about a 5-hour drive from Toronto. Now, before we carry on, we had Robbie Holden
Robbie Holden
on the podcast last week, and we had Spencer Young in the chat. And during our fantasy episode, no surprises, you went first. I took you on to Team Shambles, so thank you for winning. But I said that from Toronto, Ontario, I'm taking Thomas Gilbert. And Spencer kind of chimed in and said, he's not from Toronto. So I said, well, you better check the PDGA page because that's what it says. So can we clarify?
Yeah.
Are you from Toronto?
I would say I'm from Toronto, but currently living in Port Severn, which is what you would want me to say.
Right. Okay.
All right. So if he checks this episode out, he'll be very happy to hear that you clarified that for us.
Yeah.
And
So making the trip up there, did you drive up there or did you fly back and forth?
I drove. Yeah, I picked up my car in right when I got back in Toronto, and then I actually went and played the 3 courses for nationals. Played Hauko, Project 15, and Cedar Creek. And then I had the call with you guys on Wednesday night. I think that was when the first day I arrived in Ottawa, and was staying at my aunt's place for the event, and it was super, super nice. Pretty close to the course, good to visit family and all that. And then I got right into the event, ready for the tournament Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, we had talked to Jessica just about that when we were chatting with her, because she said she also drove up for that, and she was trying to get some of the courses played as well. So now that the Lake Ontario Open happened, we'll get into Eastern Canadians, but with the Lake Ontario Open happening and nationals being that how are the courses looking? Are they looking like they're ready to go, or is there a couple final touches that might need to be put on the nationals courses?
They're looking pretty good. I mean, I played P15 and then Cedar Creek on the first day, and they looked really nice. Cedar Creek looked like super well maintained. I think Dan was out there mowing the course earlier that day, and even was
Right.
mowing some of the fairways like while I was there playing. So that looked awesome. I heard like because I stayed there actually on the property on that Tuesday night, and so like heard all the plans that they have like getting the course ready for the event and like little tweaks that they're gonna do from Lake Ontario Open to Nationals, and it all sounded awesome. The new holes there looked great, and P15 looks good as always. I think like there's a
Yeah.
couple areas that have like kind of gotten a little bit overgrown that I think weren't quite as like crisp as when we played like the P15 Open
Right.
earlier in the spring. So hopefully, yeah, those get like just kind of brushed up and trimmed out for nationals in a couple weeks. But like played great, and then went out to Houtgoat, and there's actually they did quite a good job of like clearing out the actual fairways. So like they all seem pristine, like almost like leaf blown fairways, which is
Oh yeah.
awesome to see. And
Yeah.
um, and also played the changes that they made to that course, which I think definitely is going to make it play even a little bit harder than it did last year.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we had, after we talked to you last week, Gabe was on the show with us and we chatted about the course. And the one thing we learned really quickly is how much he truly cares about P15, and that
Hmm.
course
Yeah.
will be ready by the time Nationals comes up.
Oh, yeah. I
It'll be
have
looking good.
no doubt in his ability to make that place amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were just talking to Jessica a little bit earlier, and we asked her because she traveled up there as well. We asked her. We knew that people were camping on site up there. Once the rounds were over, was there any other activities going on up there that you participated in?
Yeah, I hung around between or pretty much after every single round. Usually got there only about like an hour to my tea time.
Mm,
So like getting there like around 11:30.
yeah.
And then yeah, I was hanging around probably like an hour or two after each round. It was all fun and stuff, hanging out with everyone that's camping there.
Right.
Just kind of sitting around the tents and chucking drives out in the field. They had like this warm up area where everyone was camping in, and I would go to Spencer's tent. He had like this little camper set up with like the big grip and rip tent, and I don't know. Eventually, near the end of every night, I was ripping 500-foot, 600-foot drives out. Like by the end of the night, just tossing everybody's discs from everyone's bag and
Yeah.
just having a good time. So it was super fun.
Oh, so do you get a lot of people who come up to you and will be like, "Yeah, I've never thrown this disc further than 350 feet. I'm sure you can't do any better," and then you like double it or throw it even further than that?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure. And like also just kind of fun challenges. Like I don't know, the couple of people had a berg, and I had
Yeah.
to try to outthrow like the berg to their distance driver, kind of things like that. And yeah, it was pretty fun. Like I remember I did one with Spencer where he could throw his destroyer, and I had to throw his like full tilt and try to get like farther than his disc, and I came up like 4 feet short, and I was pissed.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well, that's one of my claim to fames is that when I was out at the Smith Lake disc golf camp there with Nate Sexton, I was talking to him about how much weight he puts in flight numbers, and he's like, nothing at all. And I was like, okay, because I have a dart, and my dart is understable. And he's like, do you have it? So I gave him my dart, and he just rips it on a big hyzer, and he's like, seems stable to me. So yeah, it's kind of one of my
Yeah.
claim to fame that I have a dart thrown by Nate Sexton.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned it there, Thomas, was when you were on the show last week, you just finished doing a practice round on the new Eddyville Elite layout, and you told us a little bit about it. But now that you had a chance to play 3 full rounds on it in a tournament setting, how did you like it compared to last year's 2-course setup?
I think it's interesting. Like I definitely like the idea of the Elite 18 layout. I think it's a really good idea to kind of make this awesome 18-hole course. I
Hmm.
still think there's a couple tweaks I would like to make. And actually, I was talking with Marty and John about trying to like potentially work together
Hmm.
of creating this like master full 18-hole course there, because I think there's a couple holes that they had cut that are like really, really good iconic holes to that course. And there was a couple of like combined holes that I think have a lot of potential, but just didn't quite have um, the full work done to make it like a perfect hole. So
Mm.
there's a couple holes where just like a couple of the trees in between the fairways really kind of like impeded the pure line of the hole. And
Right.
so I just love to see like a tiny bit of cleanup, but I think like the idea of it is pretty awesome. And I think that the property can have one of the best courses possible.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
So there's the Eddyville course, then
Mhm.
there's the elite layout, and now we're going for the super mega awesome layout. Is that where we're going? Just
Yeah,
to make it that
that's right.
master layout. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that course, was there a hole or one or two holes that stood out to you? Like maybe for its uniqueness or some other reason, like distance or something like that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean they kind of tweaked a couple of holes. Like I really did enjoy actually the new double island hole. I mean, it ended up creating quite a bit of drama in the
Mm.
final round,
Yeah.
particularly. But that was a hole where like they originally had been playing it as like hole 14 or 15 on the end of a course, and
Right.
like they played a short island hole, and then they played another longer, like par four island hole that was like very eagleable, and they actually combined the two holes together to make it like a double island. And when the wind was up, the final round, like it definitely played very, very difficult.
Mm,
And I really liked that hole, so I thought that was like really clever to kind of take these two simpler island holes and make it into like this actually pretty legit tough par four.
right.
And again, there was a couple other holes that like were really, really nice and made the course like flow pretty well. Couple that I would change, like I think there is maybe one or two holes that I would possibly tweak or change to add a couple of other holes into the flow. Because I think there's like two holes on the end of a course that we kind of like pass when you go from 12 to 13. You cut out these two like really, really cool holes that I think
Okay.
would be nice to integrate back into the course, but that's kind of like, yeah, trying to tweak the layout of the course to be able to still play some of the really good holes that they weren't able to add into the course this year.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good sense of it for sure.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive into a little bit more, I think, with John on that.
Yeah.
But we should get to the part of the show here where we do a little bit of that recap with you, Thomas. So we'll do a little bit of what we could tell from PDGA Live to kind of sum up the whole, and then we'll have some questions about it. But that gives our listeners an idea of kind of what we saw of how your round went. And you can always
Yeah.
correct us if we miss something.
Yeah.
So round
Yeah.
one, oh, that's
So,
actually you.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So round one, you played a solid first round, 9 birdies, 8 pars, 1 bogey. Twice in the round, you had
mhm.
4 birdies in a row. This had you finish the round at 1030, rated -8. Marty Hendel was right up there with you as well, shooting a similar round, but just taking that one extra bogey that had him one stroke behind. Rounding out the top three was Charles Blanchett. He finished with a -6, 2 shots off the lead.
Yeah.
That first round, you got to
Mhm.
play with Brian McDonald from New Hamburg and Chris Hosmer from Ottawa. Were those two new players that you've played with, or have you played with them before?
Yeah, yeah, I've played with them before. I played with Brian a couple times this year, and I had met. I don't know if I'd actually played around with the other guy before, but yeah, I remember he had come up to me and chatted at Eddyville in years past, and I think he was at another event potentially that I was at last year.
Hmm.
And so like we kind of reconnected on that sense, but it was just a fun round. Like we were the first MPO card out, so
Right.
we were actually kind of following the MP40 guys for most of the round, but just kind of having fun setting the pace out there. So
Yeah.
it was nice. It was like pretty fun, chill around. I had my family actually out all weekend as well. My mom, dad, and my aunt and uncle
Right.
that I was staying with. They were following along as well, so it was cool to like have them there for for the event and watching all my shots and whatnot too. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, it was quite nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that. I like the having the little family entourage there, or group of caddies or cheering club.
Your squad, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
also too, is it kind of nice? Like, because I know a lot of times when you get to some tournaments, it's like the tournament directors will plan and have maybe some of the top people on a card. But when you get a chance to just be on a random card, that's got to be kind of fun to play with new players and get a chance to not always be just playing with the same people every time.
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoy it, and I mean, it's if someone else like can get a kick out of the opportunity to play with me or Marty or some of the other like great Canadian players out there, like I think that's super super fun.
Yeah.
Like I think the only time it really makes sense is if you're doing it for a films card with
Hmm.
sponsors and all that, because then
Right.
they want the players that will bring the most eyes. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy doing kind of like a randomized like first round cards. I think it's a pretty cool thing to
Yeah.
be able to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll jump to round two, and it looks like that's where things started to heat up. You and Marty are battling back and forth. Marty takes the lead.
Mhm.
You take it right back. You go back and forth the whole round, but in the end, you both finish with a 1030 rated -9. So this keeps you in first place, and you're up over Marty by 1 stroke. And the two of you now have 9 strokes in the lead between third and second. So my question here was that after taking a bogey on hole one, you came back and scored the eagle on hole two, and it was the only MPO eagle the whole round. So tell us about that hole and how did you manage to score the eagle?
Well, hole two sets up pretty well for my game. It's kind of just a giant hyzer twice over these cornfields and tree or soybean fields and trees. And it definitely is a very difficult first shot. I would say like you have to throw quite high over top of these trees and carry about 400 feet of distance over at a bounds to be able to get into a position to go for the eagle.
Mm,
You can throw a gap shot and like get into a similar landing zone, but it's definitely a lot easier if you have the distance to just go over top. So first round, I actually kind of like aired a little too safe and exposed like the disc to the wind. So didn't end up getting it that round, but then was able to get the eagle, just going hyzer on the next
Mm.
shot and made like a nice 25 footer for the eagle on that hole, which definitely felt good considering that I had bogeyed the first hole with
Yeah.
like a pretty short putt for the par.
right. Yeah, makes sense for sure to come
Yeah. It's
back
always
with
good
an
to bounce
eagle
back.
after that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we know that you and
Hmm.
Marty have been friends for quite a long time. So how was
Yeah.
it getting back on that same card and competing against each other again?
I mean, it kind of just felt like old times, I guess. Like we battled so many times and been so close, and we know that each other's games so well, and we know each other's strengths, we know each other's weaknesses, and so like you can almost anticipate where each of us are going to shine throughout the round. And so like I kind of knew that I just needed to try to keep with him as much as I could in the wooded stretch, and then the last 5 holes are pretty open, so I just, like, knew I needed to get to those holes, and, hopefully that'll let me shine a little bit more, just being able to throw a little bit farther, a little bit, like, more over stable discs, whatnot, and so it definitely, like, yeah, it was back and forth depending on which part of the course we were in too,
Mhm.
and I remember, like, even I mean, I can get to it in a minute, but the
Yeah.
final round, there was, like, something in my head that I was, like, trying to just keep in mind to like not let Marty get too far ahead when we were in that wooded stretch.
All right. Well,
Right.
we'll get to there.
Yeah.
One thing, was it you who had told us maybe on one of our previous conversations back when you started? Did you caddy for Marty at one point? Is that what happened? How you guys met the first time?
Yeah, so the very first time that we met, I had reached out to him and Sandy just through Facebook Messenger because I didn't know who they were at first, and then I actually caddied for Kim Scott Wood at the Chrissy Lake Spring Fling back in, like, early 2016, and
Right.
Marty won that tournament, and I was like, "Oh, wow, this guy's, like, a legit player," and at that time, I was literally just trying to learn as much as I could about disc golf and like learn from the players that could do it best. And
Hmm.
so I like approached Marty and Sandy, and I was like, "Hey, can I play a practice round with you guys out at Toronto Island? It's my home course. I'd love to be able to like just see you guys play a practice round." And so I played a practice round with them, and that's where I also asked Marty whether I'd be able to caddy for him after I'm done my rounds because I was playing M1 at the time.
Right.
And so I caddied for him at that tournament, and he was able to win against like Brad Schick, Paul Yulbari, like a few other
Ooh.
like
Wow.
pretty big name pros. And that was kind of what like started our relationship, was just me on the bag for Marty at that event. And we actually ended up traveling together, playing a bunch of tournaments. I drove down with them to the 2017 World Championships in Georgia. And like I would say that's kind of when it like really started to be like a true friendship, is when I like would go down and stay with them at all these different events.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
one of the best things about the Canadian disc golf community, right? That you
yeah.
can get those connections like that for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So then, yeah, we may as well touch on it now because you brought it up there. Round three, the battle continues right from hole one when Marty pars and you take the bogey. Scores all tied, but right away you take the lead back and then you continue to trade the lead back and forth. Marty gets 5 birdies in a row. You get 4 birdies in a row. It looks like hole 15 might have been the turning point. You want to tell us a little bit about that hole?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just to kind of like reiterate the little like hint I gave in the last
Yeah.
part,
Yes.
Yeah.
in the earlier part of the round, I remember I had like gotten the tee pad. I don't remember which hole it was on, but I told myself, okay, like whatever you do, just don't lose the tee pad,
Right.
because Marty was the guy that I was gonna be battling with, and if I can hold the tee pad and put pressure on him by throwing like a potentially good shot to birdie the hole, then I knew that it was gonna eventually like kind of put some pressure on him um, through just longevity of outlasting the marathon of birdies that is that
Yeah.
course during the final round. And it was crazy. I mean, like I joked about it on Instagram that I had like one of the most Thomas rounds ever,
Yeah.
because I shot 9 under par with 5 bogeys, 12 birdies, and 2 eagles, I think. So
Right.
it was
Yeah.
like it was crazy, and 1 par.
And one
Yeah,
Yeah,
par. That
actually,
was
one
that's
it. The
one.
one
one
lonely
lonely
putt.
little par.
Yeah. But definitely, yeah, the turning point, absolutely. I would say actually was hole 13 is kind of when it first started. I had to throw this really tricky upshot through a small gap that was like kind of risk reward, and we were tied at the time. And I knew if I executed that shot, then I'd be one up on Marty. And I did it. And then the very next hole, throw like a lazy forehand, try to run like a pretty deathy putt and hit the cage, roll to like 70 feet,
Oh.
and take a bogey when he birdies. So immediately switched the lead from me up 1 to him up 1.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, 15 was where it all kind of like went down and kind of set the pace for the rest of the round. We both were in balance off the tee. Marty threw OB on the second shot, kind of got an unlucky skip out of bounds left. And then I knew I needed to park the island, so what do I do? Then chuck it OB long to myself. And then yeah, really weird errant upshot from Marty from the drop zone. Tried to like play his signature floaty Annie putter and kind of misread the wind, got a weird drop and never crossed back in bounds,
Oh,
and
okay.
ended up taking the triple bogey
Hmm.
on that hole to my single bogey, which flopped the lead again
Yeah.
Right.
to me, 1 stroke in the lead, and then him, yeah, 1 stroke back. And 16, I knew I had a big advantage. I had literally got a dead center cut through for eagle the day before, and yeah, then I blasted up there, had another jump putt up to the basket. He kind of threw a little errant upshot from a weird angle to the green. and I was able to make it a 2-stroke lead, and that made me feel a lot better because 17 is another island hole where
Right.
literally just a bad gust of wind can be a 2-stroke swing. And so
Mm.
I like knew that, okay, if something unlucky happened, at least I'd only lose a maximum of 2 strokes, and then I would still maintain at least a tie going into the final hole. But I was able to birdie it, so was Marty, and still had a 2-stroke lead. And then on 18, I had gone OB left, trying to like cross all of the OB. It's like 450 to clear OB in the section that I went, and so I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that today. It's also a particularly short run up on the tee. You maybe
Mhm.
have like a total of 6 feet of run up,
Oh wow.
for just the tee pad because it's on this like mound. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like throw my stable boss as hard as I can, and I know it won't flip. I know it won't like get a crazy fade out, and I actually threw it like probably close to 580 off the tee.
Wow.
Um, so it was like a huge crush. There's like a dirt road that comes into the property, and I'd actually thrown it just past the dirt road off the tee
Wow.
pad,
Yeah.
and that kind of put the pressure on Marty. He had to like try to go for eagle to do anything,
Yeah.
hold his shot a little bit, and unfortunately went out of bounds. And then that kind of gave me the leniency to be a little bit aggressive on the next shot, and I was able to throw a mid through the gap and actually have a 25-foot putt for eagle, which I was able to make, which is pretty sweet way to
Yeah.
finish off the tournament.
Absolutely.
Well, Daryl, what it makes me think of is it's like, so Thomas decided on hole 18 rather than kind of
That's what
play
he's
it safe.
thinking.
He's like, I'm going to throw a
That,
boss
yeah.
like a boss.
Yeah. Was that the yellow boss
Yeah,
that we talked last week about, Sophia, that said once you bring out your
yeah, the
yellow
one that
boss?
feels like, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's also, yeah, you took down another A tier, so congratulations on that. How did this win feel to compare to the other A tier wins this year?
This one actually felt really good. I feel like it was one of the more intense battles that I had all year. I think a lot of
Right.
them I kind of was able to relax a little bit more coming down the stretch. So this one kind of going all the way to hole 15 definitely felt a little more intense. Like it was a true
Right.
battle up until that point. So I'm happy like things ended up going my way and making it a little more stress free on like the last 3 holes. But
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely was one of the more intense battles, so it made it feel a little bit extra special.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Well, when we talked to you before, you mentioned that one of your goals was to win as many Canadian A tiers as possible this year, kind of set a record, hopefully, for that. So this weekend's event puts you at your fourth Canadian A tier win of this year. And I
Yeah.
was like doing a little looking at A tier registration, and I noticed that you're on the wait list for Falcon's flight. So if that spot
Yeah.
opens up, are you going to make a trip out west and play?
I would have, but I with the Air Canada strike, in
Right.
particular things that are going on right now, I looked at the flights last week because I had like messaged the TD and like chatted back and forth and seen like, hey, is it like, am I likely to get in? And they're like, oh yeah, like you'll definitely get in. It's like, okay, well, all right, I'm gonna look at the flights, I guess, and look at the flights, and they're like $1,300
Right.
round trip. And so I don't think it's in the cards for me to play it this year, unfortunately.
Right.
Just with how soon it is, and I haven't booked accommodations, I haven't like set up anything at all to go to the
Right.
event. As much as I would really, really love to play Falcons Flight, I don't think it's gonna work out this year, unfortunately.
All right. Well,
I'm hearing not this year, but
maybe
it's gonna
another one.
happen. It's gonna happen
I
sometime.
And
really
I,
like it. It was one of the events that I like wanted to play this year, and especially once like I kind of realized that this Canadian A tier tour was going to
Yeah.
be like one of my things I do this year.
mhm.
I definitely was hopeful that I was going to be able to play the event, but then once kind of the whole wait list thing happened, I didn't realize it was like you got to sign up the first hour
Yeah.
or you're
For
yeah
15
First
fall from the
seconds.
wait
minutes.
list.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So I kind of missed the ball on that one, and Oh well, hopefully next year. I still have, I
Yeah.
think, two Canadian A tiers left to play for the rest of the year: the Canadian Nationals and the Ontario Provincials.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to those.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I'd really still push to try and get you out here, Thomas. And all I would say is if anyone's listening and has like a whole bunch of WestJet credits just burning a hole in their pocket that they'd like to give to a good cause.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, but no, that's good. We'll see you out there at another one and definitely see you at Nationals. So,
Yeah.
we do want to wrap it up, but you got your next event is out in Idlewild. And where's that one? That's down in Kentucky, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Are you heading down there, or are you there? We're trying to gauge by your background, but are
I'm
you
here.
heading?
Yeah,
You're there. Yeah, perfect.
yeah, yeah. Arrived
Well,
yesterday afternoon, and then played my first practice round today. One more tomorrow, and yeah, then all set for the tournament.
yeah. We
Okay.
were looking for Kyle Klein just to be walking in the background with his dog, but we didn't see it this time.
Oh no, no Kyle this time around.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, have a great tournament this weekend. We'll be cheering you on. And at the end of the show, as you know, if there's anything else that you want to shout out or if you want to do a sponsor shout out, here's some time right here for you to do that. So,
Awesome. Yeah. Kind of same as last week. Thanks to the Spot Space for supporting me. I'm hoping that we're gonna potentially actually have a couple discs sent out to me for nationals. So if you, I should have my Thomas and Sophia shirts, and I should have some of my Thought Space jerseys and some Thought Space discs. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Or if you just run into me throughout the fall this year at any one of the events that I play. Definitely support and buy a disc, buy a shirt. It definitely helps a ton. And then yeah, thanks to you guys for having me on. I'm looking forward to kind of wrapping up the season in Canada, and
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to it.
awesome.
Yeah.
You're always a great guest, Thomas, and we always appreciate your time when you give us some of it and come on the show. So, thank you so much.
Yep, no worries. Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, hope you have a great tournament, and we will speak to you next time.
All right, take care.
Okay. See ya.
See
Bye
ya.
bye.
All right. We got an MPO win. Well, let me get into this intro I've got, Daryl.
Go for it.
All right. We've heard from the FPO winner. We've heard from the MPO winner. And our next guest is the tournament director of the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals and the owner of the Eddyville Super Spin Disc Golf Center. Whew. I had to take a deep breath for that one.
Yeah.
We had a great conversation with him last year, and we're excited to have him back on the show. Let's welcome John Pytel to the podcast.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you, John? Glad you could join us.
Oh, thanks for having me again.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is, John, is like it's great to have you back on the podcast. This past week, in preparation for this show, I went back and listened to our last year's ECAN recap, and that was episode 40, and it was recorded on August 21st, 2024. And we had said we hope to be podcasting long enough to chat with you next year. And here we are, almost exactly 1 year to the day, doing it again. So that was a pretty happy and exciting moment for the two of us.
Yeah.
That's awesome, and thanks to you guys for doing all this work on the Canadian disc golf scene. It's just great.
Oh, you
Yeah.
bet. We're happy to do it.
Yeah, exactly. We're honored. So, as you may have heard, or maybe just been listening, we spoke to Jessica and Thomas, and we heard about how much they enjoyed playing that tournament. And we wanted to give you a little bit of time just to talk to us about the tournament from a TD's perspective. So, how do you think it went?
Yeah, well, it went very well, and kind of coincidentally, by the time I logged on, I kind of just caught a bit of the end of Thomas here. So I'm going to be speaking without having heard what they might have said,
That's okay.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, somehow I thought you were going to start the show with me and maybe finish with the talent at the end, but maybe I was confused. But anyways, I think the tournament went very well this year. Probably one of the smoothest events we've ever ran here. Just the pace and the flow and the size of the field. Everything seemed to go really, really well. And based on the feedback and the input, everybody was having a good time with it, with one round a day. Just a matter of being ready for your time on the course and having a little bit more off time course to have some fun, socialize, camp out, sleep in, that type of thing. So yeah, it ran really smooth. We had great weather as well. A little bit of rain on Sunday morning, but like no more than a drizzle. And the courses have been playing really well this year. We're in a drought, more or less, here, which is keeping the grass cutting down. But the last 2 years, we were very, very swampy here, and it would have been a lot harder on the players to play in those conditions for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking about last year's event there and in the past, we noticed that last year the Eastern Canadians was a 5-round tournament over 3 days. This year you made some changes to the format and the course. Can you tell us a little bit about those changes?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the the regular courses, the MVP and Axiom, they play at kind of different paces. One's maybe an hour quicker than the other. So, when you're trying to roll players around on the two courses and just, it's a doubling of everything, like 2 sets of starting, 2 sets of groups coming off, everybody anxious to know when their next tee time is and, when they're going to start again. And so there's a lot more player comms and communications, interactions, as the event goes on. So switching to one larger 18, the vision with the elite layout or the eel is just a par 72 experience. I don't think it was meant to be anything overly long. We threw in the 4 sets of tee pads, kind of you would want to have for an 8-tier, or that many divisions, and that went really well. I think it all played well. Some of the the lower rated divisions with their tee pads got around at the same pace as everybody else, so it flowed really well. I think it was a real success. In talking to a lot of people, they felt like they'd had enough golf by that point on hole 18 for the day. They wouldn't have wanted to done any more, and I don't think anybody was discussing doing less, but I think it was a good amount. The feedback was very positive for the course, a lot more positive than I thought it would have been, because we're really just doing our best to combine the two courses and not just a best of. And for us locals and members here, it's a kind of a bit of a treat because it's it's something different, and we'll do a lot of guerrilla golf in the spring when things are drying out, but then we kind of settle into the regular courses. So everybody was really positive about it. I think it's going to be back again next year. It'll be better. I was really worried about it taking too long to play around. So once we saw it played in tournament fashion, realized, okay, we could have. And I think some of the feedback from some of the like Thomas or Martin or everybody else is, this whole original hole would have been good to still see. So some of those got a little crushed just to make sure it flowed well. We had par 3s that were reachable and some things like that. But generally it went really well. And combining the two courses, Thomas had caught him describing that 18th hole. It's really a mishmash of trying to find some OB that people could throw over as well as not. So I think it worked out okay. But knowing where you can land helped a little bit for sure.
Yeah. And then, talking about a mismatch of courses and putting it together and the guerrilla golf that you played and all that, like how long did it really take you to put, or how long were you been working on putting this elite layout together?
Oh, well, it's been a couple of years, maybe not last year. We started proposing the concept a couple of years ago to some of our sponsors. We were hoping to achieve some other things with it that didn't pan out. So we didn't bring it into last year's event, but we did play it at our club kind of championship, or we did a little non-sanctioned event, and that went fairly well. But we were just kind of tinkering and designing. And one of the other kind of limitations is we only have that many portable baskets here. So we were just making do with what we have. So now, kind of heading into next year and some more infrastructure improvements and things that we want to do, we should have an even better eel out there for the players.
Yeah,
okay,
that's great.
So with that eel, do you have a favorite hole or of yours, like one or two where they kind of stand out? And which hole would you say is that one that you like?
Yeah,
I know
I
you
think
love
that
them all. They're all your babies, right? But
that's funny you say that, because it's like every time you build a hole on a golf course, it's like you have a hard time crushing it or changing because you get a little attached to it, for good or bad, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, we got to put another hole here, but we can't deal with that hole. But I think some of my favorites was 18. It's just extremely hard. And every year we got a kind of tree that blocks the green that keeps getting bigger and bigger, blocking more and more. So for Thomas's eagle there, that drive, that upshot, and I think he had like an 8-foot putt for eagle is just a crazy thing. So that's a bit of a favorite. And if you never kind of been to Eddyville, the last holes of Axiom, which are the end of the eel here, are just beautiful holes to watch golf. You're up on a little ridge looking down at the players, and your event's over, everybody's kind of winding down and socializing, and makes for a lot of entertainment. So a lot of those finishing holes are really good to have watched. Like he's 17 watching, and people are getting tight going OB. The double island hole, I don't know what Thomas talked about it there, but I think Thomas and Marty put up 3 circles in the final go of it, combined between them, which is like, I don't even put a circle up there, but I'm not throwing as far as them. I'm just trying to go tic-tac-toe and get out of there. But so those were really good. And another real favorite of mine would have been hole 3, where we take an existing par 5 and we move the basket over a pond. So you have to, it's not a super long par 5, but if you don't get a couple of good shots out there, you're probably going to be laying up or having to really play an aggressive shot because there's water in front, OB behind. So those are some of the favorites that I had for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know if it kind of ties into the same as your favorite holes, but was there any holes that surprised you once the players started playing it? I know you mentioned about, it's hard to design a course and make it Thomas proof, but was there a hole that maybe played a bit easier, a bit tougher than expected?
I've looked at some of the stats, some of the ones I wanted to talk about was like, I think only 6 or 8 people went under par over the whole weekend. Right. So, and I think, 6 of those were MPO, and then 2 other division winners that were on the same tee pad. So, I felt good looking at that from did it play to par, or was the challenge there? Yeah. And we have won the MVP course. We crush in hole 17 and 18, which has some unorthodox flow to it, but I was really surprised to see some people getting eagle on that hole, or I'm not sure I made it a par 4. I think I made it a par 4 and made 12 a par 5. It's hole 11, 12. But hole 11, I wish I would have seen some of Thomas's or Chris Hosmar's flicks to get up to where you have to be to get out and get a 3. Like it's it would be a phenomenal flick, and then just a good nice upshot out of the woods to a tight green and then the putt in. But that hole surprised me to see some 3s come up on it. For sure. And no aces, like in our discussion or your comments in. I left the par 3s to be real short for what they can be. And they were a little difficult, obviously, but I think the one on 6 or 7, I got old numbers, new numbers in my mind, but it's just a little par 3 over a pond to the basket, and then another pond to the right. I'm surprised somebody didn't smash that in, but so I think it all played well, and no real surprises other than, I think there was, elevated baskets can cause some aggressive putting to, 3 putts to happen. And I think, some of the MPO players were, got caught in that a bit, but
Yeah.
we don't have
Right.
too many of them. We don't go crazy with that. But,
Yeah.
No. Yeah, and you're right when you talk about the stats, and we had noticed that there was no aces, so you definitely had it dialed in that way. Now, did you hear of anybody catching chains or getting close, striking band or something like that?
nah, not too many, or not that I recall. Anyways, it's more I heard about Thomas had a spit out on 16. It was just a perfect putt, and it shot it back out or something. But I don't know if there was that many close runs or anything. I didn't hear too much about stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So looking at the tournament as a whole, how do you feel? Like, how was the turnout for the event this year?
Well, I think it was fantastic because in these bigger layouts, you have to really watch your flow, your pace of play. Like we only had 112 people, and we didn't start teeing off till 8 o'clock, but we were still teeing off, to 1, a little bit after 1. So, and if there's a backup or whatnot. So, I'm certainly glad I didn't have as many people as I was opening it up to at the beginning.
Right.
That was well. We also knew nationals being so close, time and distance wise, that I think a lot of players were going to put their budget and time to going to that event or spending some weekends going down to play those courses and that. So we knew we were going to be probably not seeing a lull in the calendar where we're the A tier, that's going to be the only one for a month or two. But and we still got to work on our schedule a bit with some of the other series and tours and that. We so many Quebec golfers come here, and then just their tour schedule, their series schedule, and ours just. They're asking people to golf 7 days over 11. That's pretty hard to do, at the best of times. So, we're really thankful to all the players that do make it, that are, trying to hit all those events. So I mean, as far as what my max capacity is and what we can do with the tournament, we probably handle a few more people for sure, and tee off a little earlier and maybe finish a little later. But I think we'll just keep it kind of as it is, and just hope that we get the response. Like, I think it was a great MPO field, extremely strong MPO field, and we've gone from here, the instant sellouts to, people just kind of like, oh, well, there's going to be spots at Eddyville or this or that. So I think a few people are sitting back and registering a little late, which we prefer they register early. But I think this is a top MPO Canadian type of event to come, compete on and challenge yourselves on these courses. In looking at the stats, most of these divisions were all decided on Sunday and with lead changes. Even with, I think Thomas started up with a 1-stroke lead, but, it was up and down with him and Thomas. It was spectacular final round. But I think FPO flipped in the last, MA1, MA2. The bigger divisions all had kind of second taken over first on the Sunday. So, I think that makes for a good lead card, a good round for everybody competing in those divisions, and just make you a better golfer to, win or lose. You're in a battle for a lot of holes and a lot of throws and, a lot of technical, I guess, shots and a lot of OB. We didn't have too much wind this year, so I think the players got off real easy. There was a little bit of wind on Sunday, and you could really see it messing with people's putts, and it was a light wind. So, the place could be a lot more tricky with wind, and we usually do have a little bit more wind than that.
Well, I know you've spoken about it before, Jeremy, is that scheduling, getting all the tournaments happening on the same weekend or in the same time frame is kind of tricky, and there needs to be something done about trying to make it so that everybody can attend all these different events. When you mentioned it there yourself, you kind of said about getting people in from Quebec and then the Maritimes as well, and you even get people coming up from the US. Did you see a good collection of players coming in from those areas?
Well, yeah, we got like I say, we got kind of our regulars developing here. People that are coming back year after year. They might skip a year and this and that, and they're comfortable with the place. They know what they're coming to do. They can camp out and and have a good social atmosphere to it. But we had one last minute cancellation, but there was going to be another gentleman from I think Massachusetts or something coming up, but he had a
Right.
last minute issue. We'd like to see some more East Coast players for sure, but I think it is what it is when it's the schedule and the summer and everything, and you know Thomas has got his A-tier tour. Well, we really need to put an
Yeah.
A-tier tour together in Canada,
Yeah.
and kind of have an East and a West leg, something like that, and some knowledge, some champions there, then have an overall. And I think that's where the right organizers, and then we can see the sponsors sponsoring a player to go coast to coast. Have your Canadian tour, and have some players getting some sponsorship from the factories and whatnot to actually participate and have that on their calendar. That would be a really good thing to see for sure.
You're preaching to the choir over here. You go ahead, because I know it's a thing
Oh, well,
you feel
John
strongly
and I
about.
we had that conversation last year because we know, you've got the motocross background and have seen it play out properly in those sports. So yeah, I'm definitely with you on that, the East and the West, and bringing that together. I think Craig Sheether educated me quite well when we had a conversation with him, and he says, well, it's good to have the idea, Jeremy, but maybe, put something behind it. So I guess I'll have to do that. I'll have to put something behind it.
If anything, at the end of the season, we should get an A-tier TD Zoom meeting together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's
It's like you're on the
talk at
same
our
wavelength.
level. Let's talk at our level and see where we can go up. And even kind of just a thought getting back to when you say the player attendance and this, that, when we're speaking to our sponsors and we're talking about who, what, where we are, like within something like 4 or 5 hour drive of this place is 60 to 70% of Canada's population. I don't know if I mentioned that in the past. So we feel we're in a great location to draw it in. That's why the 2-3 course kind of concept was developing, to have big tournaments here, and but other than that, just stringing everybody together and trying to get a schedule that works, and some kind of regional, local, provincial style events, and then you just schedule and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So with this being the third Eastern Canadians and having planned many more events beyond that, do you have any tips for new tournament directors that could get them to host a successful event? Because you seem to be doing a great job of running them from experience.
And what we'd say, John, as well, is if Jessica's still listening, she had just let us know that she's going to be running her first event over the Thanksgiving weekend, Flingsgiving event. So I'm sure she could also, just like Daryl and I, all of us could use a little bit of advice.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, I try to have a team, try to get involved with other events and learn and watch. I mean, even attending events, you're going to pick that up, and we'll talk maybe a little bit before we end, but next year will be 20 years of hosting events here. So, I learned from the Men with Hats, the OD tour, the Ottawa crew, from Don Lane to Chris Oslin's and the ODSA. So a lot of these people have really helped in, me gaining the knowledge and just having good people come around. And then, if you don't know the answer, just figure it out or find out or ask somebody. Usually if there's another TD around or somebody that's experienced, they'll gladly help out. Don't feel you have to put too much into it, like going broke or whatever, we have a marketing program. We've treated a lot of our events as a marketing exercise. But if you're not careful with the numbers, you can quickly get out of pocket on little things, and and it can be thankless. Like somebody was on TV saying, "Never read the comments. Never read the comments." You get 99 great comments and then one bad comment, and you're going to be fixated on that. So you got to let a little bit of the water run off, the duck's back, so to speak, and and the members are like, okay, regular John's coming back and not tournament John. So, you have to wear a sort of hat, and you get tired, you get grumpy, and you're just, I want to get through this. And not in a bad way, but it's got to execute, and it's got to go through everything. And these darn campers get me into their shenanigans at night. So it's a pretty rough morning for 3 or 4 days for me. But and it's, if you don't try, you're never going to succeed as anything in TD. If it was all that easy, we'd all be doing it. And it's, it's not that it's that hard, but there's just, I think for the most part, the A tier or the player base or the regulars we have now just seem to, they're not issues, but you still hear about people running some C tiers where you get a lot of the newer players in, and there's just kind of an 80-20 rule. You're probably got 80% of your energy down there with the brand new 20% that think they've walked into something that's not really what they're expecting, So you have to kind of manage those expectations. But I hope Jessica does good. She should do great. She'll be great. Yeah. She's a winner, and I think that one was tied with 2 to go. I think that card, the FPO card. So so it was a great win for her.
Yeah. Well, and as you say, with running the tournaments there too, John, and being careful about the comments and stuff, and good that you have a great base for Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals, because I just pulled up Canadian Championships, which is a big event, right? The bigger event of the year, the Nationals for this year. Yeah. And right now on Disc Golf Scene, there are 252 comments. So poor Daryl and those guys are answering comments every single day almost.
That's the other thing as a TD. Like, it comes at you from all angles, and sometimes I'm getting messages I don't even know where it came from, and I'm trying to go look to find it. Disc Golf Scene's got comments, and then it's got the message board. And people in their patience today too, they probably emailed me 10 minutes ago and they don't get an answer, then they're on these boards asking the same questions, and then I'm like, I just replied to your email. But it's all good. People are always anxious for when's our tee times, when's our this, when's that. Mm-hmm. But it's understandable. They're excited, they want to get their mind in the flow of what it's going to be. But it happens when it happens. And, a lot of players, that are listening, like a TD's final days, hours before the event is really when the field sets itself between all the withdrawals or people trying to get in. And it's nothing worse than putting up a bunch of tee times to only change them, but they only tend to change slightly, we're shifting some players around, that sort of thing. But, posting a schedule like the Nationals has done is really helping everybody plan their days. I guess I see I'm up very early on Saturday or something, so I'm not good. Friday night better be here. Go to bed early,
Go to bed early on a disc golf weekend. What?
Right?
When 4 days, you got to pick one.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. Well, and you had so much going on at your events with having camping on site, like you said. And if I remember right, like you guys, it's not just doing the tournament. Are you not doing meals in that too, and having options available for campers, or was that just last year that you did that?
Yeah, well, we've done all sorts of things in that flavor, but with this year, well, this year for us was a lack of some helpers, some longtime helpers. Darlene was on a cross Canada 4 month, trip with her husband. So she's gone from May to September. Um, you know, I have a helper around the property. He was gone for a wedding in Europe for a month with his family. So we were a little tight for some things, but yeah, like my lovely wife cooked all weekend for everybody. And these are
Nice.
breakfast sandwiches at 7 in the morning to hamburgers and hot dogs. But in the years past, we've offered a dinner and a meal plan and things like that. But just
Wow.
with this format and finishing early, we thought and we did get to be long days cooking from 7 in the morning till 7 or 10 at night or whatever. So we kind of dropped off the dinner options, but yeah, there's just a lot of setup and prep, and and we had so many people help out, which I'll kind of rattle on at the end with some thank yous when we get there. But yeah, it's kind of like a one man show, and as much as I'm a tournament director, I'm really kind of a facilitator of it all, right? Like have people going out in the courses, water in the courses. It takes a little bit of time and effort and constant care, watching for flow on the screens, trying to figure out if there's gaps developing. So you really need a team of people. Like, I can't be flipping hamburgers and doing all the things that a TD's got to do, but
Yeah.
we do that. And I think with this format next year, we're going to bring in some entertainment.
Ooh.
Next year will have been 20 years of tournaments here. So we're going to be doing some bigger things as more of, some music and entertainment, probably a much larger added cash, players pack type of thing. Once the dust settles in the next week or so, I'll get through nationals, we're going to start working with the sponsors and everybody and see what we can come up with for next year, which should kind of, just be a celebration of it. 20 years in disc golf is quite a long time.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So that's where we're going with it. Glad it went so well this year. Glad the feedback was so well. Sometimes you're sitting there as a TD and you're putting an A tier out there and all that effort, and you're not seeing all that immediate response, even from my own membership and my own community and local community. It's like, that's up to the people to register to get the mojo going for the people in the facility. You can always get your money back. You can't get in if it's sold out, or you can't get in if I decide to cancel it, So, and not that I would cancel an A tier, but, there's a lot of other events that, we were the only PDGA offering up here for the longest time. And now there's a lot more of it. So we don't necessarily maybe feel we have to do as much, but we still do our 2 or 3, 4 PDGA events a year. And we ran a PGA league in the spring, and I think I got another one maybe starting this Saturday. I got to get back to my schedule, get that all posted up. So, we're trying to give people the rounds and stuff there too. So, give them the benefit so they want to be going to these PDGA events,
Yeah,
for sure.
No, and you kind of touched on it there, and it kind of leads into our next question, is that when you look at disc golf scene, we know that your name is the one name that shows up on disc golf scene, but you can't put a tournament together like this. You can't make an event happen like this without a lot of other people in the background doing so many things. So this is your kind of a moment here. If you want to give a shout out to, I mean, I know there's going to be too many to shout out, but the ones that mean the most to you, I guess, without putting too fine of a point on it. Like, is there anybody you want to shout out and say thanks?
Yeah, no, I totally, in my notes and prepping for this, because I didn't say enough thank yous at the ceremonies and stuff like that. You're always just, your mind's going a million miles an hour, and you're just looking for that cold pop to crack open about that point. But my wife, she just worked all weekend, cooking, putting up with me in the lead up. Like, it's really a 3-week a good 2 weeks, week before, week after, the lead up and the cleanup. But, my wife and kids helping out and doing everything on the course. Jovan, Dave, these guys, they just fly in, donate their 3 days of time. And, Jovan's me as a starter, Dave's me in the shop, so I can just come and go as we need to. Laura Nuttall, who's been working here this summer and stuff, great help with doing all the merch outs in the store and the food. Nicoletta, Karen Dotto, they helping with the players packs and the food. Eric Vinet, who's here like virtually every day working on this course with me. And it's just his getaway from the city and work and life. And he's an outdoor guy, and he's an animal. Keeps me out there working all the time. All the Super Sin members, but so many jumped in and helped out. We were asked for help to do this, that, and the other, preparing for it. And of course, our sponsors like MVP Disc Sports. So far, this is a great thing for here. It feeds our marketing program. It allows us to. We give so much support to school events, other tournaments, this and that. So that all helps fund all that to grow the sport and make good experiences for whatever size or type event that's happening out there. PDGA Canada, Brian, these guys are great. Big Dog, questions, answers, consultations, we almost need a TD night. And what really is happening, what's really being pushed behind the scenes, some of the discussions, the concerns, I only care because I'm invested in it, right? And I have the kind of the background where you need to see some successes happen or some protections of those successes just to make sure the sport goes to that next level. So, the PDGA's always got some pretty good open ears to that stuff, and some really good people to look at things. Some other sponsors, Integral Communications, DG Art by Jake, did all the trophy stands and stuff, and Beards Beams does our graphic artwork and our banners and stuff like that. And we're still in the process of doing some rebranding stuff here, so get Greg involved for that, some basket wraps and things. That's I'm sure I'm forgetting people, but exactly. It's a big team, and there's so many other vendors and suppliers,
well, and that's what
it's great.
And with that, John, it just really goes to show is that when a player comes to a tournament to play it and they have that great experience, what it really takes to make that happen. Like when we spoke to Gabe Robinson last week, and we were talking and he was talking about Project 15 and such, and one of the things he had said is like somebody sees a sign, something as simple as an advertising sign in the ground, but it's like, well, someone had to design that sign and someone had to go get that printed, someone had to come out and they had to put it in and they had to set it into the ground and they have to take it out, and it's something super simple, but there's all of these things that need to be done, and it takes a team like the team that you have to make that happen, and everybody's spot on that team is important to put on a great event like the one you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very much. And, planning too, these things don't get ordered and show up the next day. So, I've kind of known my deadlines now because I've had some of the same suppliers and this and that. But, one was a little bit close on some of the players pack stuff. I was a little worried, but no, they delivered on time. But, you just got to have a little schedule, and you start from tee off backwards to when you need stuff, and, set up your closing dates or your registration so you can get your players pack stuff out, orders and things like that. But all that helps to make that experience. So when they come in, everything's there, and I think just being pleasant and not overwhelmed and stuff like that. Just, just a smile with people. Like, the only people that leave happy are the ones that won, right? So you still got another 95 people that aren't going to be happy with something happen on the course, but they can still have had a good time here,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we had a great time talking to you, John. We like to say from Chain Out Podcast, thank you for organizing the event, having an awesome course, sharing it with the disc golf community. We appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us. We look forward to chatting you again next year, and I'm sure it'll be, mark it in your calendars. It'll be a year in August.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be a year in August unless we get that A tier. You and I really should connect on this one to get that A tier meeting going this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been talking to some other people, and I think that's just a good conversation starter, a good spot to start. And thanks for having me on. Thanks for all you guys are doing for disc golf. Hope to meet you guys one day on the course somewhere.
Well, how about at Nationals in a couple weeks?
Okay, so you guys are coming. I haven't really been up on things, so you guys will be there. Okay, well.
Yeah, we're coming out.
Yeah. As I always like to say, we're hosting the players' meeting, the opening ceremonies. So we'll be there. We'll see you there.
All right. Well, I'll bring a couple Eddyville hats for you boys for all you're doing.
Awesome.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
And then I'm sure I'll be able to find a pop somewhere that you and I can get for you.
A cold pop.
Yeah, that's it. I call them mini Gatorades.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds great. Thanks,
Perfect.
John.
Thanks for your time, John. We'll talk to you again
guys.
soon. Okay. Thank you.
Cheers.
Daryl, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just noticed it there as John was signing off, where he's sitting there right on the course. It's like you've got the nature right in the background. You got the crickets chirping. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I could hear it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Do you remember that movie, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
I have seen it a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know this might be a little bit of a weird kind of connection, but I'm wondering if you and I can get one of those phone booths that they have, those time traveling phone booths,
Right.
Because I think then we could find a way to quickly get out to all of these different A tiers that we want to play.
Exactly.
And maybe ones that we heard about in the past.
Yeah.
We could go back and play those ones too.
Exactly.
We could go see young Thomas caddying for Marty Hendel.
Yeah,
that type
exactly.
of thing.
Before I let you carry on, I think Dylan is going to sum it up in one word.
Legend.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, and the best thing is if we had one of those phone booths, it would be most excellent. And we could party on, dudes. I think I feel really old. Like that was a movie we grew up with, and but it feels old with me saying it now. But hey,
how many people in the chat actually understand what we're saying?
Yeah. Party on, dudes. No, they probably think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, it's that time of the show where we thank you so much for listening and ask you if you could head over to YouTube and subscribe. We say it enough. I don't think I need to keep reiterating it, but we'd love to have your subscriptions and your likes and your follows and
your comments.
All of those things. Comments
and everything. Comment on the YouTube, comment on the Instagram posts.
It helps.
Comments are good.
Yeah, and all of that stuff helps us. We've got a great established podcast at this point, and we're having awesome guests join us, and it's all because of what you're doing. So anything you can do to help us keep growing will help make the podcast that much better.
Yeah.
We've got our 500 subscriber giveaway we're going to do. We're still a bit of a ways away. Still need about 70 subscribers or so.
Yeah.
But there's a bag, there's 5 discs, there's towels, you name it. We're going to put that up right after we put up the giveaway post for the Limber Open hat that we've got there.
Seems like every week you show that hat.
Well, this 2 weeks in well, maybe it was 3 weeks. All right, we'll get it given away.
It's getting given away.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it on that desk anymore.
And you guys can go and check out. We've got a bunch of discount codes for you. We've got Chain Out is the discount code that you can use at BR Disc Golf to get 10% off. You can use it as Chain Space Out to get 10% off at Cardinal Disc Golf. Use Chain Out at Chains the Disc Golf board game, and you'll get 25% off. And then you can use COP15 to get 15% off your purchase at Goat Towel. So, I think you're pretty much all set if you need something here last minute for your next tournament.
Covered for discs, covered for jerseys, covered for towels. You got everything.
You're covered. And then otherwise, we do also have a Patreon. It's got many levels, including free. You can go check it out. If you do go to one of the paid levels, you will be entered free into all of our contests, which allows you to actually get 2 entries because you could enter the way we post it and you're automatically entered as well.
Exactly.
And as the show finishes off here, we do have our Around the Basket episode, and it's going to start probably not 15 minutes. We'll probably start it pretty quick
Pretty
here.
quickly, I think.
So we'll roll the highlight reel, and then we'll jump right in after a quick break. So go over to Patreon, get the free link to join us live, and you can jump in the chat and be interactive with us. We're going to talk about the scandal
Ooh.
that happened in the FPO playoff
Yes.
at Ledgestone.
Yeah. I hear you've got a pretty heavy take on it.
We'll see.
So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to take this moment.
Oh, I love this. Are we going to do another one of your deep thoughts?
We're going to bring, we need
Deep thoughts with DJ Daryl.
DJ Disc Golf. Okay. I just want to put this out to everybody in the chat and everybody out there in podcast world and who plays disc golf.
Okay. I know as we get these going more.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the day?
The deep dark voice.
Deep dark commentator voice.
I think
yes.
you've got to come up with a voice for these, whether it's,
Well, I'll try the deep dark voice.
it could
We'll
be
see how
deep
it
dark.
works.
It could be a little bit, what do you call it? Like, hippy dippy. I don't know. Come up with any type of voice you've got for this one.
All right. Well, maybe I'll try a different voice each week.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you
Okay.
got this week?
I'm going to go to the deep dark announcer voice because that's all I can think of right now.
Okay.
Remember, folks, physics doesn't care about your scorecard. Gravity's undefeated, and probability has a wicked sense of humor. But we still aim for perfection, from the first drive to the final putt, even if it ends in a
Staying out.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you shortly, and thanks.